In 1979, Sony released a portable cassette player that was surprisingly basic. It couldn't record, and it required wired headphones to function, but it provided a specific, massive shock to the system. For the very first time, high-fidelity sound was completely unmoored from the living room. Consumers emptied the shelves. Sony sold through its initial run of 30,000 units in Japan almost immediately, creating 2-month waitlists in New York. People reported that the device let them soundtrack their daily lives. It gave them a tool to manage their moods, tune out city noise, and assert their autonomy in crowded spaces. The Walkman succeeded because it was the first mass mobile device that allowed humans to physically move through a shared environment while mentally existing entirely outside of it. But closing yourself off provoked an immediate backlash. Those large headphones functioned as highly visible "do not disturb" signs. Critics attacked the device. Philosophers and social commentators labeled the trend as narcissistic, characterizing users as self-absorbed and rude. The fear was that allowing individuals to privatize public space would create a detached youth culture, deaf to civic life and great literature. This chart illustrates a concept called cultural lag. As sociologists note, the top curve represents the rapid acceleration of a new technology, while the bottom curve shows our social norms struggling to catch up. That awkward space between the invention of a tool and the establishment of rules for how to use it is where the friction lives. It explains why early adopters of a new medium often look strange or even rude to the rest of the world. Decades earlier, a different piece of hardware triggered a similar panic over public courtesy. To polite society in the late 19th century, the idea of interrupting someone's home with a loud ringing bell and then shouting a greeting across a wire was considered incredibly crude compared to the effort of writing a formal letter. A century later, the exact anxiety resurfaced with the rapid adoption of the short message service. Pundits warned that shorthand abbreviations and typing with thumbs would ultimately destroy the English language and eradicate basic conversational courtesy. Psychologists warned that the text format allowed teenagers to avoid the difficult, necessary friction of face-to-face emotional connection. Whenever a technology reduces the friction of communication, the immediate cultural reflex is to view that efficiency as a degradation of effort. That reflex extended directly into the smartphone era, specifically regarding how we capture the world. For years, professional videographers mocked the vertical format. Shooting in portrait mode was considered a mistake, a low-effort rejection of the traditional cinematic landscape frame. But mobile-first platforms normalized the vertical frame, turning it into the default method for billions of people to document and consume daily life. This diagram models technological determinism. It illustrates how the physical design of a tool, like a vertical screen, dictates a specific user behavior, such as infinite scrolling, which then creates a new cultural norm. The anxieties surrounding these shifts are often justified. Personal stereos isolate us, smartphones fracture our attention, and algorithmic feeds have produced a massive volume of highly repetitive, low-effort media. While the moral panic often overshoots the reality, the friction is genuine. These tools force a renegotiation of how we exist around other people. Eventually, society builds new frameworks. The Walkman, initially criticized for isolation, gave rise to the mixtape, a deeply personal, highly curated form of social currency. Text messaging birthed highly creative vernaculars and allowed people to maintain continuous, intimate networks of friends throughout the day. And the vertical video format evolved into a dense, rapid-fire style of micro-storytelling, one so effective that major entertainment studios are now adopting it. The hardware and software remain identical. What changes is the social infrastructure around them. We invent the etiquette necessary to elevate a novelty to craft. Behaviors that initially look like the decay of effort are usually just a new medium passing through its awkward experimental adolescence. This exact historical pattern is now repeating with the emergence of artificial intelligence and synthetic media. The mass-produced chaotic AI generations we currently dismiss as slop are triggering the same cultural allergic reaction that greeted early personal stereos and flip phones. When a tool is entirely new, we judge it by its most frictionless surface. We see the speed of production and assume an absence of human intent. But just like the mixtape, the value emerges in the curation. The editorial choices and the selection process separate noise for heart. Human effort is still there. It has simply become invisible to the naked eye.